This is Fred Beck from Fred Beck's Fighting, proudly sponsored by Empire Fight Store. Today I'm very lucky joined by the one and only Keemstar. Keem, it's good having the Zoom, mate. It's been a while since we last spoke. I know we speak a bit on FaceTime, but nice to see you again, mate. How you been?
Good, good. I see that you've been training. What are you training for? Are you about to fight somebody?
That footage, everyone's seen that footage. Oh yeah, you commented, I remember. Peter Fury, Tyson Fury's uncle, asked me about that the other day. And he was like, "You're too smart to box, Fred." And I was like, hold on, you had to be a math test. But that was from when I was 16 years old. I don't box anymore, but that's some old footage. But you never know, Keem. You never know what the future holds.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that if that ever goes down.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever box again, but you never know what these influencer, I don't like the word influencer, but all these YouTuber cards might have in store. But what have you been up to, though, Keem? What have you been doing?
We're working with our fighters, making sure they all get on a card this year. We got all of them on cards except for one. A lot of the stuff is about to get announced over at Happy Punch. You know, me and Fousey have been running that. He's actually calling me right now. Fousey, I have you on speakerphone. I'm literally doing an interview with Fred right now on Zoom.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, Fousey. Say,
oh, shit. What's good, Fred?
How you doing, Fousey?
He said, "How you doing?" I got headphones on, so Fousey can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you handle that business, Kim.
Yeah. So wait, did you want to say anything on this interview at all? Anything about Happy Punch? Anything?
All I'm gonna say, I believe I'm allowed to say it because by the time this interview comes out, expect a whole lot of Happy Punch on the Misfits card on August 27th. We got the debut of a lot of our fighters. We're going to make a huge splash on that night, and Happy Punch is literally going to be raised to the moon on that day. So be on the lookout, August 27th, Happy Punch, KSI, Misfits is going down. And if I wasn't allowed to say that, I'm screwed.
Fousey, I'll call.
That's all gone. Don't worry, I've got Mams Taylor on about 2 hours time, so I'm sure he'll tell some stuff as well.
He's interviewing Mams in like 2 hours. All right, Fousey, thanks. I'll call you right back as soon as I'm done. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not supposed to say this, but yo, Fousey's gonna whoop Deji's ass. You saw that leak, Fred, right? DAZN's Spanish channel accidentally leaked like this card.
That's interesting because I'm meant to be going down to Deji's gym soon, but to interview Deji, I can interview Daly as coach anytime, but because Daly's a legend. But to interview Deji, I think I was talking to Liam Chivers, his manager, and he's saying Deji might say yes to the interview, but it's best to do it when the fight's officially announced. And I thought it was officially announced just because I saw it on that Spanish leaked card. But actually, They hadn't posted the picture on their Instagram. So I guess, what's the hold up there?
Well, it's not official, right? You know, these big companies, like they have a marketing strategy, right? And, you know, there's human error. Things go wrong. The Spanish DAZN accidentally leaked it. So it's like, we all know, we're all talking about it. I'm sure you've talked about it on your channel. I've talked about it on our channel. Like, nobody can be mad at us for this. Like, DAZN leaked it, you know, they messed up.
Yeah, well, that's its own in Spain. So I don't know what's going on over there in Spain. But when will we get the official announcement, though, Keem? How long do you think it'll be?
I don't know. I've heard multiple different things. You know, I talk to Mams like almost every day. And you know, I don't know. I'll let you ask him.
Well, I'll ask him in a few hours. But obviously that event, that's the end of August, and now it's the 7th of July when the time we're recording. Will you be coming over to the UK?
Yeah. I'm planning on working the event. So yeah.
Well, you mean presenter, interviewer, or can be hanging back with Fousey?
I'm probably going to be one of the commentators.
Oh, hell yeah. Who else are the other commentators who'll be working alongside?
I don't know if I should say. I know who they are, but I don't know if I should say it because I want them to be able to announce it themselves. But this is the first time I've talked about it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, you don't want to steal their shine. But obviously only FaceTime to you about 5 minutes ago, so I haven't had much time to prepare for the interviews. To be fair, I don't really do much preparation. I just talk to people nowadays. I used to like do a whole load of questions on a sheet of paper, but nowadays I kind of just wing it every time. But just talking about DramaAlert, what's going on with that? How's that been going?
DramaAlert's been going well. I shouldn't say going good. On the YouTube front, it seems to be slowing down like really heavily. And I just actually had a meeting with YouTube, and like YouTube as a whole is slowing down. If you've noticed, the social media boxing stuff seems to be doing really well right now. But as being a YouTuber for like 15 years or whatever it is, YouTube and the YouTube community, its growth, it has almost halted. And I think what's happening is people are shifting over to the short content over on TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube shorts, like that type of stuff is doing good. But as far as that long form content, I think that is dying down, and that's not what people are gravitating towards right now. And it's unfortunate.
But you're on TikTok as well, I believe. You got your drama alert on TikTok. Is that actually better views than YouTube collectively?
I don't know. I don't really pay attention to TikTok. We put our show primarily on YouTube and on Snapchat. And on Snapchat, it's millions of views every time we upload. YouTube right now, I think it's the last 5 uploads are like 350K views, which is, just a fraction of what we normally pull historically. And I'm not really sure why that is, but we're working on it. People get really excited around this boxing stuff, and every time we upload on that, even recently, the last, what was it? What's the name of that company where Deji and Alex Wassabi fought on?
Social Gloves.
Yeah, so like when we covered that, it was 600K views and did really well. I just DramaAlert, the way it's structured is, it's a 10-minute video. I'm covering like 10 different stories and I'm compacting it in one. And I don't know if viewers really expect that type of content, because no one else really does that. Most people will talk about one single topic for 10 minutes and then upload it to YouTube. So I don't know, maybe my format has got a little dated.
I don't know. I don't think so, because I guess your channel relies on drama. I guess my channel is a news channel as well, but you're mainly kind of drama stuff that's going on in an influencer space. But say it's kind of a shortage, say that maybe lockdown, for example, or lockdown, there would have been more drama. But has there been times where it's kind of got more difficult, where there's nothing much been going on?
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing about social media boxing is like, one, it creates the community aspect because you have a forced collaboration between content creators beating the piss out of each other. And two, it's good drama, good, healthy drama that's, no people are getting too emotionally involved in. Yeah, that's why I love the social media boxing stuff, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, just on the drama front, did you ever envision that it would be this big, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago? Did you ever imagine it would become this big, this massive?
No. But I'm like, I'm like done with it. Like, if
Really, you tired out?
If the number is right on DramaAlert, I would probably sell the company at this stage and just focus on Happy Punch, because that's where my passion is right now.
Wow. Well, I didn't expect that at all. Well, you just kind of burnt out doing all the drama then.
Yeah, it's just you know how successful you are when you're passionate about something, when you're genuinely interested in it. And a lot of the news stories that have been going on in the community outside of social media boxing, they just don't interest me anymore. I think the entire ecosphere of online entertainment has shifted in such a way where I don't think anyone is being their authentic self anymore. People have always played a character a little bit, but now it's like everyone understands, like, I got to be in my best behavior to get brand deals, et cetera, and make the most money out of this thing. So what you see is content creators and online entertainers walking and talking like commercials. They're smiles, I love you guys. And like, there's, where are the authentic people? Where are the people that are just going to really say how they feel? That doesn't exist anymore because of the cancel culture that we have right now.
That's very true what you're saying there. But do you believe that streamers in particular, they're more the real ones because they got to talk to people for like 4 or 5 hours straight? Unless they're like an Oscar nominee actor, then they can't keep character for that long. Do you believe streamers are kind of the real ones nowadays?
Well, it is a good point, but now what we're seeing for the most popular streamers, right? Like you got XQC, Pokimane, Hassan, and a few others, which I call the poggers community. The top streamers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even being entertaining themselves anymore, if you know what I mean. They're not playing video games or relying on their own entertainment. We're watching all the top streamers turn into reaction channels. Every day you go on their streams and they're sitting there watching a YouTube video and reacting to it. So it's a bad time for online entertainment is in the fronts of streaming and the fronts of YouTube content, but it is a good time for short clips. You know, we're seeing people on TikTok get millions and millions of views. And they used to say, like, you know, this is decades ago, that the future of the internet would be everybody gets their own 15 minutes of fame and everyone gets to be famous for a short period of time, but there's no more superstars. We're seeing that play out with apps like TikTok and short form content.
Certainly. It's quite interesting what you're saying there about how streamers nowadays, they kind of just react to YouTube videos. But one streamer in particular who's definitely taken the world by storm in the last, or definitely the last year or so, is Speed. What do you make of IShowSpeed?
Speed is an entertainer. Speed is absolutely hilarious and entertaining. And, you know, there's plenty to criticize on Speed. Like just the other day, he blew off fireworks in his house, right? So there's stuff to criticize him for. But at the same time, you know, there's nothing more entertaining than his shenanigans.
Imagine him in a box ring as well. I mean, he's signed to your company.
Yeah, well, January is I don't know if, you know, we signed Speed and then Speed lost interest. So we kind of quietly like separated from Speed. So he's not technically at this time under Happy Punch, but he might. Like we don't know. We don't know. You know, he's got his own management team that's, you know, talking with our management team and working on it. Speed himself wants to box, definitely wants to box. We're planning for him to box in January, but we don't know because the kid has so many other opportunities that the boxing stuff might mess up what he's got going on right now. People don't understand, like Speed is, if you're unfamiliar with Speed, this guy is as big as it gets right now.
That's interesting because you've obviously talked to Speed quite a few times. Obviously, you gave him the sign, Happy Punch.
Yeah.
What's he like in person? How different is he on camera and off camera?
Oh, it's the same kid.
Federation.
Speed is the same kid. He is the same kid. He is the same kid. Me and Fousey had a FaceTime with Speed. And he's like, I want to box. We're like naming off names. We're naming off people that he cannot beat. There's no way. But just seeing his reaction. And he's like, I'll fight him. I'll fight him. I'll fight him. Oh, I can beat that person's ass. I mean, we've seen him in a YouTube video recently saying that he could beat KSI's ass, which no, he can't. But the full confidence of the world. I can fight. I'll fight. I'll fight JJ. I'll beat up KSI. He's awesome.
Just one question on that, actually. The Happy Punch promotions, I take it they'll be professional boxing. But how old is Speed? Is he 18 yet? Because if he's not 18, he won't be able to go pro.
No, that's why we were waiting for January. He turns 18 in January.
Oh, okay. So there you go. That's his real age.
Yeah. He's 17.
Okay. And just one more question on Happy Punch promotion. You guys always got Gidion, who's become very big, especially when he came over here in the UK. He's become massive in the UK as well. What can you expect from him?
Well, Gidion is co-owner too of Happy Punch. You know, he owns equity in the company. I don't know. It's been finding Gidion an opponent has been the absolute most challenging thing ever.
Oh.
Because for some reason, nobody wants to box him. And I think part of the reason is because he's so loved. He's absolutely loved. Like, who wants to be, you know, the bad guy in that scenario, in that boxing scenario? It's been really, really challenging. But, you know, he does want to do the influencer boxing stuff. Like, Gidion is not just one of the biggest influencers on the planet right now, but he's also a hardcore fan of this online entertainment stuff. I mean, he's a fan. He knows everything about me and my career, everything about KSI and KSI's career. He knows everything about a lot of people that have been in the space for a long time. So naturally, he's a fan of the social media boxing, and he really wants to do it because he's a fan of it. But finding him an opponent, impossible, like so impossible. I mean, you would have to find someone that's never boxed before, just like him, doesn't have experience, someone that's the same height. You know, Gidion's a big guy, right?
How tall is he?
The same weight. I'm sorry, what though?
How tall is Gideon? 6'2", 6'3"?
I believe he's 6'2".
Okay.
And I'm just guessing off the top of my head. I'm sure we can Google it or someone can Google it. Maybe it is 6'3". He's very tall. And if I were to guess right now, I think he's 240 or something, 230. Maybe I'm overshooting it, but he's a big dude. So finding him opponent would be relatively hard. I know someone that comes to mind that seems kind of similar is maybe like a Vitaly or something in the same weight class. But Vitaly has boxing experience. So I don't know if that's the right fit for Gideon because, to be fair, we'd like to put him up against someone that hasn't boxed before either.
Okay, that's fair enough. I remember Vitaly fought on the Deji undercard against Kristen Kirby, which is quite it wasn't a technical fight, but it was definitely an entertaining fight. But
well, the thing with that is Vitaly just uploaded a video, talking about, because he was canceled, right? He violently attacked a woman, an innocent woman, for no reason under drugs and alcohol. And he just uploaded a video recently to YouTube just a couple days ago saying, how drugs and alcohol ruined his life. And the YouTube community doesn't really want to give him a second chance. And, no one should be forced to give him a second chance. He did some horrible, horrible things. But I do like the fact that he is now teaching his audience the dangers of drugs and alcohol. And that's the one thing I do love about social media boxing is it gives people in Vitaly's situation an opportunity to still participate in the community in some aspect. And his last fight, I felt like he got robbed. I felt like he clearly should have won because his opponent, Kristen, was headbutting the shit out of him. And no points were deducted or anything, if I remember correctly. And it came out as a draw, which makes no sense. If you rewatch that fight, how with the headbutting and with just, if you watch the fight, Vitaly, in my opinion, won more of the rounds. I don't know how that's a draw. So I am hoping and I'm putting pressure on both parties for a rematch. And we can look forward to that hopefully happening in the future.
Yeah, I think they both did agree to a rematch. I got Kristen's number, so maybe I should give him a little phone. He's gonna get on a Zoom and talk about it. But I think they both did agree to a rematch. But you know what? People agree to things and they might not turn out the same. But let's talk about Jake Paul. Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. The news just broke. I think it was today or yesterday that Tommy Fury won't be fighting Jake Paul. What do you make of that? Do you think that's a bit disappointing, especially on the British side?
Well, I mean, everyone that doesn't like Jake Paul or people that are fans of Tommy Fury saying, hey, look, it's not Tommy's fault, like there's a real reason why he can't fly to the United States because of, associating with criminals or something. But what I didn't like about it is I didn't like seeing a video from Tommy Fury where he goes, I don't know what's going on. I went to the airport. They wouldn't let me go. But, I have no idea. My lawyers are looking into it. And then nothing from him on social media for days and days and days. Jake Paul's like, we told you what to do. Go to the embassy, do this, do this, do this. It was silent night from Tommy Fury himself. If there's a situation going on like this and you start ducking us, the people that are going to be buying the pay-per-views, the people that are going to be talking about your fight, the media, you start ducking us and sit in silence, then Jake Paul owns the rights to the narrative that Tommy Fury is being a bitch and he's scared of him. Jake Paul owns the rights because Jake Paul spoke to the people and made multiple videos and would do interviews talking about the situation. And you sat there, Tommy, and said nothing to us. Absolutely nothing. So look, this is the second time he backed out of a fight with Jake Paul. Jake Paul's all over it, saying that he's scared of Jake Paul. And, I tend to believe Jake Paul. We should be hearing way more from Tommy than what we heard.
I do. I met Tommy Fury a few times. He is always very, very, very friendly and he's a nice guy. But the radio silence I was going to point that out as well before you said, Keem. That is very, very odd, that radio silence. At least say a few things. But I remember Frank Warren, his promoter, who signed Fousey Promotions, all the other interviewers would say, oh, what's going on with that? I remember Frank did about 4 interviews and it was Boston Social IFL. We asked him about that. And Frank only spoke for 10 seconds about it, barely wanting to speak about it. So it is like Frank was saying, oh yeah, he should just go to the embassy. So I'm not sure. It'll be very interesting to see Tommy Fury's side of it. side of things here, but Hassi Rahman Jr. is his opponent, and we know they sparred before. What do you make of that? I believe Hassi Rahman Jr. is 12-1 in his career so far.
Jake Paul just did an interview with ESPN, and he said, well, my brother, Jake's talking about Logan Paul. He goes, my brother even said, like, what if he accidentally knocks you out? What? Did Jake misspeak? Because I can tell you behind the scenes, the people in this industry, social media industry, they're looking at Jake, they're looking at his new opponent, and they're saying those were sparring buddies and whatnot. What are the chances that, maybe Jake paid this guy some extra money to take a fall and like that's what people don't just say online. They say it behind the scenes too about fixing matches and stuff. And with Jake Paul having this slip of the tongue, like it's bad. It's a bad look. You had Wade responding right away to my tweet asking if Jake just admitted that, he's fixing this fight. And he said no, because it's hard to believe. It's absolutely hard to believe. But I mean, that's shocking to hear him say it the way he said it. And, you had people responding saying, well, Jake was talking about a sparring match. Jake was talking about sparring with him. No, he wasn't. I went back and watched, a full 7 minutes of that interview to make sure I had the full context. And that is not what Jake was talking about.
That's very odd. I did actually watch the interview with his manager. Can't remember his actual name, but I watched the first few minutes of that before I gave you a call. But I did. That's very interesting to bring that up. But I do remember Wade Clemens saying about how he could fix it. But I don't believe he'd do that. Would you? I don't believe that.
Well, look, obviously there's Jake Paul versus KSI. That's been an ongoing thing forever. And this influencer boxing thing will never be satisfied until that match happens. And I am team KSI 100%. But that doesn't mean that I hate Jake Paul. That doesn't mean that I'm a Jake Paul hater. I'm happy what Jake Paul has done for social media boxing. I'm very happy. I'm very pleased with it. But from the very beginning with his Triller fight, against Ben Askren, those pay-per-view numbers don't sound legit. That doesn't sound legit. And Dana White went out and said, if you believe those numbers, you're crazy and whatnot. And I tended to co-sign what Dana's saying. I think those numbers are ridiculously high. Now, keep in mind, he's coming off of knocking out Nate Robinson. So, I wish there was some governing body, that handled all the pay-per-views, so we actually know the goddamn numbers, because you can just lie about your numbers. That's what people don't understand. I'm getting into arguments with just casual fans on Twitter, like, no, this person did this much. Based on who? What's the authority figure that put out those numbers? Oh, the boxer themselves? Why would a boxer have some motivation to put out fake pay-per-view numbers so they get paid more for the next fight? That's why, you idiot. And if you look at Jake Paul's numbers, they've been going down every single fight. The pay-per-views have been going down every single fight. And again, these are numbers that he is reporting to everyone. So it's like, I really, especially now, want some governing body, the boxing commission, someone has to come and take over these pay-per-view numbers.
Oh, no, I 100% agree, Keem. I was literally about to bust in there. I don't want to interrupt, but I was going to say a commission would be very good for that. But just talking about commissions, actually, I don't know much information on this, so you're the best person to ask. But I did see, I believe, I have a mate called Christian HC, who's his own YouTube channel, and he put on his Instagram story about having influencer boxing world titles and influencer boxing weight classes. Do you know anything about that yourself?
I have been pushing behind the scenes for influencer boxing to be a separate sport, to be a separate sport than professional boxing. And I think that would be very, very beneficial to both sports. Mixing the two and having YouTubers come in and being registered as pros and fighting each other, and they're both pros, I think is slightly disrespecting, actual boxing. But it also is disrespecting themselves, because as we know, many influencer boxers sell more tickets than professional boxing. It is its own sport. And I don't like how it's the two are being meshed.
I can see what you mean there. I guess a lot of people use the cliche quote, boxing is a business disguised as a sport. But the thing about, I'm talking to Deji Alex about this, and he was saying it's quite interesting that in boxing there's so many different weight classes: featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and goes up and up and up and up. It's like 20 different weight classes because there's so many different people to pick from. But in influencer boxing, there's a lot less people to pick from. So what will the weight classes be like?
I don't know. But we do know this: influencer boxing, as far as how many participants we have, are growing very, very fast. But, you know, I put together a spreadsheet, and I have a list of every single person that's interested in social media boxing that has been announced to be on a future card or that has been in a card. And I can tell you this: the majority of all these influencer boxers are in the 180-pound category. It's like a wild amount, like 70% of them are in that category.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But how long do you think, like all this influencer boxing, this YouTube boxing, how long do you think it's going to last?
For a very long time, time. I think if I said 25 years, which seems like a long time to everyone, I think it's going to be longer than that. I'm so dead serious. And the reason why I know this is because I go to boxing gyms, you know, in my area. And when I go and visit cities, I go to local boxing gyms and they're packed. And I talk to gym owners and they'll tell me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, there was only a few people coming to the gym. Now we have to turn people away. We got too many people coming because influencer boxing has blown up this sport. Everybody wants to be a boxer now. All kids are looking at this stuff and they're interested in it and they want to box. I'm sorry, but when you had Joe Weller fight, what is his name? Theo Baker. Joe Weller versus Theo Baker for a video. They boxed each other for a video. It was just supposed to be for fun or whatever. And it went viral. That changed the world. That moment changed the world. Joe Weller comes out of making this like little viral video that's not even that serious, and he challenges KSI to box. KSI takes him up on the boxing match. KSI beats Joe Weller. Then he calls out the Pauls. The Pauls fight, you know, KSI and Deji. And here we are today. All right. Think about that. A YouTube video between Theo Baker and Joe Weller changes the globe as we know it.
I bet you they wish now, especially after that Mayweather fight, I bet you they wish now that they had commission in it, but they would take 10% of each purse on going forward.
The reason why I bring that up in almost every interview of how it started is because Theo Baker and Joe Weller have been robbed the glory, right? Even though it started with them. You know, KSI and Jake Paul have taken all the glory, and I guess Austin McBroom too have sucked up all the oxygen in influencer boxing.
Certainly. I know that because I've got about 10 minutes left here on the Zoom because for some reason it says I have to upgrade to a pro Zoom. I have to pay for that if you want it for the full 40 minutes. But just a few more points I want to ask you about KSI Alex Wassabi. There's a lot of people saying a bit disappointed in the opponent of Alex Wassabi. What do you make of that?
Oh, they're insane. They're to all those people that are disappointed. Shut the fuck. Are you kidding me? Alex Wassabi has been talking shit to JJ for years on top of years. And then we see, you know, he was supposed to spar Deji. He doesn't. He was supposed to spar KSI. He doesn't show up. And he's still talking shit. This little clown, Alex Wassabi. Then Alex Wassabi goes and spars Fousey and gets knocked out by Fousey. He's a fucking joke. So then Deji's like, you know what? I need to get a win under my belt. I'm going to fight the easiest opponent ever, the coward, Alex Wassabi. And then Alex Wassabi beats Deji. Dude, KSI has no option. He has to fight Alex Wassabi. Alex Wassabi has disrespected JJ for years and years and years and years, and then beat up his blood, beat up Deji, beat Deji in the ring. The idea that someone's like, I'm disappointed. What are you talking about? You're new. You just logged onto the internet yesterday. If you don't know the history, then you don't understand this fight. But if you know the history, you understand why this must happen. Everyone wants to say that Alex Wassabi is an easy opponent. He's an easy opponent. I'll tell you what Alex Wassabi is. He's undefeated. Undefeated.
Well, that's quite a good promo there. You just cut Pete Keem. You should be Alex Wassabi's promoter, or I guess you are in a way. But just one last point on that KSI Alex Wassabi fight. If Alex wins, what happens to Alex? And if KSI wins, what happens to JJ?
If Alex Wassabi wins, then Jake Paul wins. Because the reason why Jake Paul took Alex Wassabi under his wing is so he could give Alex Wassabi all the tools in the world to beat KSI, so Jake never has to fight KSI. That's what's going on with that. Will that happen? Absolutely not, because KSI is insane. KSI may not be the best athlete in the world, all right? But he is so headstrong. This guy's will is like nothing I've ever seen, all right? People just chalk it up like, oh yeah, KSI beat Logan Paul. No, KSI had no business beating Logan Paul. Logan Paul is an athlete. Logan Paul went toe-to-toe with Mayweather, all right? KSI has absolutely no right, no business of beating Logan Paul. It just shouldn't have happened, and he did it. So that the idea that Alex Wassabi is going to beat him, no, it's not going to happen. But here's another thing about Alex Wassabi that people don't understand. Alex Wassabi has been living in the gym, and when he fought Deji, he's good. You know, everyone wants to chalk it up like Deji didn't do no offense. That's because Alex Wassabi was shutting down his offense. Alex Wassabi studied Deji, understood his game, and shut him down. So Deji couldn't make a move. Deji the entire time was stuck in his head. Oh, this is happening, so I got to do this. This is happening, so I'm going to do that. If you watch that fight, Alex is leading everything, all right? And he mentally shut down Deji. Can he do that with KSI? No. But what I saw right there is boxing maturity, fighting maturity, and intelligence from Alex Wassabi that I did not expect to see. However, I did call for Alex Wassabi to beat Deji, and everyone said I was stupid. Everyone said I was crazy, and everyone is wrong, and Keemstar's right.
Well, there you go, Keem. The damn get a cutting a promo, I will give you that. But I'll be very short on time here, about 5 minutes left. I just want to ask you a question a bit about yourself. Obviously, today we talk about a lot of other people. How do you think you'd like to be remembered in the world of YouTube and in life in general?
I don't know. I think I'm going to be remembered as the bad guy, you know, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I love playing that role. You know, I do think about it. I shouldn't say I don't care because I do care. But I don't really know what I want to be remembered as. I definitely don't want to be remembered as the good guy. But hopefully, you know, when I'm long gone, people at least give me the credit of being entertaining, because that's my goal. Like anytime I'm, you know, picking up the mic, going on camera, I'm trying to make sure that people are engaged with what I'm saying and, you know, and they're hearing me. And I think I am good at grabbing people's attention and forcing them to pay attention to me.
Oh, I'm so sure you're good at that job. But yeah, I mean, you're a good guy in my books, Keem, because you gave me an interview, and I know that you're very exclusive. You don't give many people interviews. How many interviews have you done in your whole life, though? That's an actual question there.
I don't know. I would say probably 20 or less.
That's not like, considering how big you are, that's not very many. You gave me one today, so that does really mean a lot. But thanks so much for your time. I'll put your Instagram link in the description, but I'm sure we'll catch up soon. I'll give you another FaceTime call in a few weeks, but yeah, I'll catch you at the next event, probably in August time for the Misfits fight. I will ask Mams Taylor about some of the things that's been going on in this interview, but I'm sure I'll catch you soon. Keemstar, thanks for your time, mate.
See you, man. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Keem.